Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat Martial Arts and Fitness. This is Mat Chat. Today's topic, folks, is discipline. So before I got on here, I went to the dictionary to look it up, and most of the definitions were involving disciplining children and things of that nature. So I'm going to give you my definition of discipline. Discipline for me means the ability to do what you do not want to do. Plain and simple. And when we're talking about fitness, when we're talking about martial arts, when we're talking about self-defense, in order to make any sort of progress in these fields, you're gonna need discipline. You're gonna need to be able to do things that you don't necessarily want to do at the moment. And the better you are, or the better you get at being able to do things that you don't want to do, the faster you'll learn, the more you'll learn, and the more longevity you'll have with fitness and with martial arts for that matter. So discipline is the most important ingredient. A lot of times we wait for motivation. We wait for some magical burst of energy. We wait for feeling like doing something. Which in most cases gets us nowhere. The best workout, the best work, and this is in all arenas, the best work is done in those moments when you don't feel like doing the work. That's when usually a breakthrough happens. When we're talking about working out, that's when you have an awesome workout. That's when you come to a life-changing understanding, is when you do not want to do it. And so when you start to notice that the opportunities are in those moments when you don't feel like doing what it is that you're supposed to be doing, when you realize that, then you start to approach it from the standpoint as, I don't want to miss out on opportunities just because I don't feel like doing it. Discipline is one of those things that gets better the more you do it. Discipline is something that you can get good at. Discipline likes things like routine, schedule, momentum. These are all things that discipline likes and favors, and these things make discipline easier. But eventually you want to get to the point where it doesn't matter how you feel. If it needs to get done, it gets done. It doesn't matter that you're in a bad mood. If it needs to get done, it gets done. It doesn't matter what the circumstances are. It doesn't matter who you got into an argument with. It doesn't matter if your leg hurts. If it needs to get done, it gets done. And that is the only way that we as human beings can accomplish anything. Waiting for motivation, waiting to feel like doing something is just unreliable. You're not going to get that motivation when you need it. And then what ends up happening, especially you're trying something new, you're doing something new, what happens a lot of times is you'll be motivated maybe for the first or second time, but after you get used to it, it becomes boring. It becomes a task. It becomes something that you have to make yourself do when you don't want to do it, even if it's something that you love doing. So we have to get that notion out of our head that motivation is going to find us. It never does. Usually, and I'm going to veer off a little bit here, talk about motivation, but the way motivation really works, if you want to be able to evoke motivation, if you want to be able to conjure up motivation, motivation is sparked by action. So action must come first, then motivation happens. Those times when you feel the motivation first, those instances are few and far between. They don't happen at any reliable rate that you can depend on. So you might as well forget about it. So I put together a list of 10 things to help you develop discipline. So let's go ahead and get into it. Number 1, start small. When you start small, you're setting yourself up for success. A lot of times, when we take on too big of an endeavor, we make it easy for ourselves to talk ourselves out of doing it. So start small, because again, like I said before, discipline loves momentum. When you get into a car, you don't start that car in 6th gear. That car starts in 1. It slowly picks up speed, picks up speed, picks up speed, picks up speed. And then when you're flying down the highway at 80 miles an hour, it takes very little gas and effort to maintain that speed because it has momentum. Discipline works the same way. So start small. Number 2, take action. It goes back to what I was just saying about how motivation follows action. And a lot of times, if you're looking for a spark of motivation, take action. What happens is, when you let's use an example. Say, hey, I'm going to start working out tomorrow. The more I put it off, the more I say, I'm going to start working out next week, the day after, the more I put it off, the less likely it is for me to do it. So as soon as you decide to do something, take action immediately. When you take action, what you do is you invest skin in the game. You put your money where your mouth is. You give yourself no options to turn around because you already jumped in. You're already in the pool. You're wet. Now you got to swim. So take action. A lot of times we set out on these endeavors that are outside of our capabilities. And we set ourselves up for circumstances where we're unable to take action. And we're biting ourselves we're kicking ourselves in the behind. Whatever you set out to do, make sure that you make the first step within your capabilities. If I say I'm going to start doing push-ups, I want to be able to get down on the ground and do 5 right here, right now. So take action. Number 3, discipline over motivation. We just talked about it. Motivation is the most unreliable source. It's almost insignificant. When you start dealing on discipline, you don't even take motivation into consideration. You might feel a little bit of motivation when you come up with a great idea, but that motivation is gone. You're not waiting for it. You're not looking for it. Because it ain't motivation that's going to get you what you want. It's going to be discipline. Number 4, change your identity. Now, this one is a little tricky, but in a nutshell, what you're doing is you are seeing yourself as the person who does the thing that you're setting out to do. If you want to start a business, you're calling yourself, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a business owner. If you want to start working out, you look at yourself, I am an athlete. Take on the identity. It's not about, when we're talking about these lifestyle changes, when we're talking about making moves, it's not about what we're doing or what we're going to do. It's about who we become. So we have to take on the identity of the person that does the thing that we want to do. Number 5, eliminate excuses. When we're talking about excuses, we have to get good at shutting them down. We have to look at them as challenges to overcome, not reasons not to do something. That's how most people look at it. They're like, oh, can't do it. Got this going on. In order to eliminate excuses, first of all, you have to do it immediately. An excuse, just like discipline, loves momentum. So the more you let an excuse simmer, you'll open up the oven and you got a Thanksgiving turkey in that thing. You gotta shut it down right out the gate immediately. Immediately. And that is the hack for dealing with excuses. The people who don't allow excuses to dictate whether they do something or not, those people are really good at shutting down excuses out the gate. They actively fight excuses when they come to when they come to mind. So we got to shut them down immediately. Number 6, create an environment that supports your success. If you're starting a diet, that means you got to get rid of the Captain Crunch in the cupboard. If you're starting a workout regimen, that means it might be a good idea to set up a workout station at the house. If you're trying to cut out drinking, that means it might be a good idea not to hang out at the bar. I mean, it's obvious, but sometimes it's not that obvious. We have to create the environment that supports our success. If the things that prevent us from doing what we want to do are all around us, we're human beings. We can't, when we're approaching this whole discipline thing, when we're approaching this whole willpower thing, it's not about taking on the biggest demons that we could possibly take on. It's about arranging it in a way where there's least resistance. It's about making it as easy for us as possible. There's no badge of honor waiting for you for making the path harder than what it needs to be. So create the environment that's going to support your success. This one's a good one. Win the morning and win the day. So this one is an excellent hack to taking on new endeavors, changing things in your life, starting something new. Get up an hour early. Morning time is a wonderful time, and it doesn't take long. I wasn't, for years, I wasn't a morning person, and I still, to this day, I will never say that I am a morning person. But all it takes is about 2 days of getting up in the morning. The first time you do it, you'll be tired. And then you'll go to sleep early. And then the following day, it's fine. It's that simple. But you can get so much accomplished in adding an extra hour to your morning. You can research. You can work out. You can meditate. You can plan your day. I would say that getting up an hour early should be part of any new endeavor, any mission to improve yourself. So add that extra time in the morning. That's some precious time. I would say that an hour in the morning is the equivalent of about 2.5, 3 hours during the rest of the day. I'm dead serious. All right, next one. Focus on systems and not goals. Once you've set a goal, it's set. A lot of times we start obsessing. And yes, you do want to keep your goals in mind. You do want to keep your eye on the prize. But it's not the goal itself that's going to get you to the goal. It's going to be the systems and the schedule and the routine that get you to those goals. So that's where you need to be focused on. A lot of times we make goals and don't put enough emphasis on how we're going to get to those goals. And those goals end up getting reduced to some fantasy. We don't want that to happen. We made the goals. Now we put the plan together. Focus on the plan. Obsess over the plan. Obsess over the system. Obsess over the method. You know what the goal is. You made the goal. You know what it is. You don't need to keep revisiting, fantasizing, and getting all bright-eyed, bushy-tailed over. Oh, I can't. Nah, you need to focus on the path that you need to take to get to the goal. Next one. Reframe challenges as opportunities. This is something that I can testify to. When you are able to find opportunity in your challenges, because when you think about it, when you're faced with a challenge, on the other end of that challenge is going to be what you want, or is going to be closer, a step in the direction of what you want. So that challenge is really an opportunity to get closer to it, to the thing that you want. So you're not gassing yourself up and telling yourself lies. There's opportunity in every challenge. You could take the worst thing that has ever happened to you. I know for me personally, when my mother passed away, and that was one of the worst things that I'd ever experienced, There was opportunity in that. I took that as an opportunity to change the way that I eat, to eat healthier. And even though her passing was devastating to me, it also changed my life in a way that added years to my existence. I completely changed the way that I ate. I started focusing on eating healthy, being healthy. I saw the challenge of me going through losing my mother as an eye-opener to I need to be focused on being healthy because I didn't want my children to lose me prematurely. So you can take the worst of scenarios, situations, challenges, and turn them into opportunities. And the opportunity will present itself to whoever's looking for it. So wherever you look for opportunity, wherever you're looking for opportunity, you're going to find it. All right. And last but not least, this one's very important. Never negotiate with yourself. I mean, it's kind of silly, but it's also common. So I know that everyone knows what I'm talking about. Don't negotiate with yourself going back and forth, because in that negotiation, usually when there's a negotiation, one party wins. In that negotiation, because you're negotiating against yourself, nobody wins. You're sitting there trying to over-philosophize with yourself, talk yourself out of this, making a deal with yourself. Okay, I'll take today off and then we'll get back after it tomorrow. Don't do that. First of all, it's dumb. Second of all, it's you. Who you negotiating with? And the reason why I laugh so much is because this, as silly as it sounds, it is something that we all commonly do. And if we don't do it, we are always tempted to do it. There's always that voice in our head talking about, well, just stay in bed for a little bit longer. Just skip today. And we sitting there, well, I'll skip today and I'll do double tomorrow. You start negotiating. Who you negotiating with? You're really negotiating against yourself. It's you and you against you. Don't negotiate with yourself. But yes, that was 10. I'll go over it one more time. Start small, take action, discipline over motivation, change your identity, eliminate excuses immediately, create an environment that supports your success, win the morning game, focus on systems and not goals, reframe challenges as opportunities, and never negotiate with yourself. Coach Sully, Reps and Sweat, Martial Arts and Fitness. This was Mat Chat.